I'm here to talk about the Free Republic of Liberland, a bit more about what it is, why we do what we do, what is actually physically happening, and our role in the wider network state ecosystem. So, just a show of hands, how many of you have heard about Liberland before? Yeah, so a lot of people. In ZuVillage, I actually met quite a few Liberlanders already, so there is some level of interest. But most people actually have a lot of misconceptions about what's actually happening, so I will show the actual situation. So Liberland is a territory on an unclaimed river island between Croatia and Serbia. And wait, well. So the first question is, wait, what? There are unclaimed pieces of land in the world? The answer to that question is kind of. So Liberland is not exactly the only piece of land in the world that has this peculiarity, but it's the only one that is even remotely livable. The others are in the desert and stuff like that. So I will talk about what is the legal situation of Liberland, what is actually on the ground, and stuff like that. Just for personally, so I lived in Liberland last year for almost half a year. All of my income now comes completely internationally, legally, from my Liberland company that is working on the Liberland market with Liberland clients. I am not living in Liberland anymore. I have a perfect excuse. I met my girlfriend in Liberland and also made this in Liberland. There is not enough infrastructure yet to for those creatures to comfortably exist there, but
Is the biggest citizen of Liberland?
yes, of course.
The youngest citizen of Liberland?
Currently, yes, but she's not the first Liberland baby. So, yeah. Okay. So there's still free real estate. Yes. The reason why it happens. So there is this river Danube, and historically, rivers usually have the tendency to be really chaotic, like they go like this. And this is suboptimal because it's hard to navigate and stuff. So all modern civilizations basically engage in hydroengineering on their rivers to make them more navigable, less prone to floods, stuff like that. And like more than 100 years ago, the Austro-Hungarian Empire changed the course of the Danube from this snaky thing to mostly straight line, and it's now much more useful river. But when you change the course of the river, that is a border between two countries, you inevitably change borders. So what they did is they moved the river towards Croatia, so they make Serbia bigger and Croatia smaller. So ever since then, in all the countries that Croatia and Serbia have been in, Austro-Hungarian Empire, Yugoslavia, the Kingdom of Croats and Serbs and Slovenes, the Nazi administration, they always had this dispute about which border is the correct one. So Croatia obviously wants its territories back, and it says, no, the original border is the real one, and Serbia is quite happy with the new borders because it got land, and they say, no, let's not bother, the river is the border. And Liberland here is an original piece of Serbia that ended up on the Croatian side. So Liberland is like 7 square kilometers of Serbia on the Croatian side, while on the Croatian side, on the Serbian side, Serbia has like 1,000 square kilometers of original Croatia. So basically, the situation of Liberland is Croatia is insisting that it's Serbia, and Serbia is insisting that it's Croatia for 100 years until we came there, set our flag there, and say we live here now. Has it been super smooth? Are there any skyscrapers in Liberland? Well, no, because this meme is literally true. Like if you build a shack in the woods, the tax collector will be there for too. You have probably heard about the problems of Liberland with the police. A lot of it is only half true. So it is true that we have some problems with the police, but the problems are very partial. So the only governmental force that has any authority to be there is border police, and they are there with the agreement of Serbia, just to ensure that like it's not being used as a staging ground for like cocaine trafficking or whatever. The police can operate there under certain restrictions, and when we got there, the police boss, the border police boss doesn't like us, so we got into some of the conflicts with them. But in those conflicts, when police overstep their boundaries, they have gotten fired from their jobs, or they have tried to issue a lot of tickets, which, like fines. For example, if you go camp in Liberland, like a year ago, the police would issue a fine for illegal camping, but then you could just ignore it because that fine goes to the court, and the court finds out that it's not issued on the territory of Croatia, so it doesn't have anything to do with Croatian court, so you can just safely ignore it. So yeah, it is a very gray area, but the main takeaways are two of them. So first one, this prevents us to build skyscrapers because heavy machinery is not possible to bring in, because you have to go to Croatia and it's a government road and they can just tell you no heavy machinery. And this is under the laws of Croatia, you cannot go to there. If you have a rocket, you can put it inside, but other than that, no. The other thing is applying only a minimal amount of physical resistance to the regime gets you a lot of freedom. So basically, the situation is, and I had this happen to me, I want to go to Liberland, and the policeman tells me, you cannot go there. I tell him, no, I disagree, I will go there. And then he like literally tries to like stop me, but if you just go around him successfully, there is like nothing that he can do. The only problem is if you like try to push him, and then it's assault, and you can. So what actually is happening? So this is part of one of the colonizer groups going to Liberland to set up a settlement. This guy looks a lot like Burns, but it's not. When I don't wear glasses, when I first saw him, I was like, Burns, what are you doing here? Okay, so how do we live there? So the most comfortable way to live there is via boats. So it's hard to build a house there, but you can just float a house there. And yeah, we had some really nice, so this is a yacht house. It's like a high-end party boat, though relatively small. For rivers, in those boats you have like AC, electricity, showers, stuff like that. More views from the boats, more views of the Free Navy and some of the life inside. This is also a boat by a Liberland supporter. It is very comfortable, but unfortunately he didn't bring it to Liberland. It's parked in Dubai. For now. Some of the pictures from the camp from last year. We also have events. So, well, we also have events. One tourist group of 200 people came to visit Liberland, and like it was commercial private companies already do tours inside Liberland as part of their like tourist things. Not very often, but it happens. We also do events. So this is a wedding in Liberland. Christian and Anna, two very likable but crazy individuals, decided to get married in Liberland. It was pretty nice. I have one video of the vibes from the settlement.
I think we all, I don't know how it's possible, sometimes we ask ourselves, how can we always be okay with everything that's happening? I mean, the police wake us up many times at 3 a.m. and we always have to smile and we just, hi, I'm here, here we go, and we go back to sleep and then it's starting. I mean, sometimes I ask myself, why am I not angry or something? It's just, there is Liberland, we call it Liberland effects. Everybody is always okay with everything.
The vibe is amazing, the people are amazing, they're so inspirational.
We learn from everyone. Everybody brings something here, and I think that's what is the most amazing thing. And then you said it. We will never give up. Yes.
Yeah, so that's more or less the vibe on the ground. The settlement has a few objectives. So the first one is to keep Liberland permanently settled, because in order to be a country, you need a permanent population, you need territory, and you need a government. And we are trying to, have a permanent population. This has already been going on for more than a year. Liberland is permanently settled. We have a citizenship program that if you come and hang out, camp with us, you can earn your citizenship after 7 or 25 days of your level of involvement. Anyway, just a few stats about Liberland. We have 1,000 citizens. Citizenship used to cost $5,000. Now it costs $10,000, but you can also get it by contribution or by coming to live there for a while. 5,000 residents, 75 representative offices. This one is in Belgrade. There's a really good one in Washington, D.C. A government budget of around 1 million, and there are 130 companies registered in Liberland. So they're telling me I need to stop, so I will just buzz through. All of our governance is done on blockchain, all of our economy is done on blockchain, the judiciary is on blockchain, and one unique thing that Liberland has is, so on blockchain you have a parallel financial system. That's basically a solved problems. But in order to make an actual nation, there's one thing missing, and that's enforcement. So how do you enforcement of contracts? Smart contracts are not sufficient to capture the whole breadth of human activity. So you need worthy contracts interpretable by humans in order to run businesses and a nation. So how do you do enforcement? Well, first you can make a private market for violence, which is based, but the problem is it's not a blockchain, and current monopolies on violence don't like competition, so not for now. You can have smart contracts, but Cody's law can only get you so far because the world can get tokenized. And a lot of things are like fuzzy conditions. A lot of contracts says unless an act of God happens, which leads to a problem. How do you record acts of God on the chain? Like, do you ask the Pope? And the problem is there are multiple popes. There's the Orthodox one, there's Catholic one. Basically, we cannot rely on this one. What we do have is judiciary, is the system of smart hybrid contracts, which have elements where code is law and elements where actual law is law, and a system of both public and private courts, which you can put your contract under the jurisdiction of. And once you have judiciary and the parallel financial system, you have everything necessary for a parallel business ecosystem, which is actually possible even outside of Liberland. So, for example, my company can work completely legally internationally under the jurisdiction of Liberland courts, and I can enter into contracts which can be enforced even if my client is in Germany and I'm wherever, without involving legacy nation state. Now, there are some caveats. So, for example, if your sole purpose to go to Liberland is to evade taxes in the U.S. and like you live in U.S., you employ people in the U.S., you sell to U.S. people, you cannot just open a Liberland company and expect to evade taxes. There are some caveats. Feel free to ask me about them later. So, one lesson from this is that politics cannot be escaped. A lot of people go into these network state projects because they're like, I don't like politics, I will create my own. But then all of these network states have their own internal politics, which are, which have the same problems than others. Like all of these projects that I know of, Liberland, Prospera, Italia, Praxis, Montelibero, all of them have internal political problems, and this is also what's holding us back right now in Liberland. So, for example, of 100 attempts of some projects that we do, we succeed at 25 of them, we fail at 75 of them, and the police and the external sabotage, like from the Croatian police or whatever, is only responsible for a small minority of them. So, for example, some guys tried to build a wooden house recently, got all the materials on the boat because they were told to buy a manager outside of there, and they forgot to bring the fuel. And then the rain came, and then all of it got fucked up. A lot of internal incompetence that we're working hard to fix. Another problem that I figured out, I talked with Polaji today about this, is that network states don't network, so there are a couple of obvious improvements we can make. We can make shared markets. So, for example, there is no reason why companies that are working in Liberland, companies that are working in Prospera cannot just have one registry where, if you are ideologically aligned and you need, for example, some software development, you can just browse from people that are registered in Prospera, Liberland, ZuVillage, whatever. This doesn't exist. Also, another problem is that we all talk to governments individually. So, for example, Liberland recently had a conversation about a free zone in one African country, and the investment we could offer them was a few $1 million because that's what we have. But if we had some like shared fund in which, so for example, a lot of people aren't part of Liberland not because they don't like it, but because they think it will not work. But they would certainly be part of Liberland if we could guarantee that it would work. So, and the same is for Praxis, the same is for, I imagine, Prospera, stuff like that. If we had an investment fund in which you can say, okay, whichever of these ones, these projects achieves its success objective first, this is the one that I will invest first, that would give us more legitimacy with the governments. And last thing is, join us. If you want, I would highly recommend everybody here to start the Liberland company on the Liberland blockchain. It's free. It costs $5 in tokens, but if you want to get them for free, just ask me. You can also become an resident. That's relatively cheap. And if you like camping and if you're adventurous, you can go to the settlement and join us. There's a lot of drinking there. So, any questions?